That is my submission. So the tribe thing, I'm afraid, is going to give William Ruto a second term. We will campaign for him inadvertently, without knowing, and he's going to be re-elected. And you'll be surprised, why was he re-elected? He was re-elected because we don't read what's happening around us. We reduce things to the bare minimum. Peter, I yield.
Thank you so much, Western Shilao, for that challenge. Now, like General China, General, how are you doing?
Yes, I'm good. Good evening, guys. Yeah.
Good evening.
Yes, I'm also fine. I'm just so worried about what has happened today because in the midst of this confusion, Kumbe, they were driving something. They were after accomplishing something which they have accomplished, which is good for them. Yeah, I will say, and I always repeat, Ruto is a reincarnation of Daniel Arap Moi, who was the worst president of the Republic of Kenya. Daniel Arap Moi will be remembered as the worst president of the Republic of Kenya, who observed murders of very many activists in the Republic of Kenya. People were killed, there were torture here and there, people were being jailed without trials in court. So he stands as the worst president that Kenya has ever had in the history of this country. And right now we are dealing with one of his sons, people that he trained. Because when Ruto was heading the YKA of 1992, their work was to eliminate. They were eliminating human beings is not something new to William Ruto. He was taught by his godfather, Daniel Arap Moi, how to kill, how to murder, how to maim. Abductions that right now are coming, there are things that he was trained when he was still a young man. So it's turned to be the worst president that this republic has ever had. And we are not going to give him a chance. We are not going to glorify him. And we are not going to be scared simply because he worked with Moi. He worked with Moi and he learned the tactics. And that's what we like. So William Ruto is first of all, is a dictator, is a modern world dictator, which the only prayer, there's someone there who prayed that the only thing, because we are working on different mechanisms of how we can do away with this guy. And the first thing on the table is when if God can give us his gracious mercies to take his life, we can be very happy. That one can spare us from spending too much money on the resources that we will spend in this revolution. And it must be noted that that is a first option, and we are paying. If God can do that, we can be very, very happy. As we also look on the other alternative, that is the first alternative, by the way, if God can relieve us from this problem. And we want to send a message, and we are sending message to William Ruto and his battalions. When Uhuru wa nchi ilikuwa inapatikana at 1963, was a very young man. And what the late Kenyatta and the late Daniel Arap Moi did to the people of Kenya, this William Ruto will not be able to do. Because ni rais ambaye ameshindwa na uongozi, uchumi imemshinda, the only thing he can do is to travel and go to each and every country, going there to represent Kenya, and there's nothing of good we have ever gotten. All these safaris were just to broker deals about now the Ketraco, to broker deals about the airport, to sell our ports. That's how he spends taxpayers' money every time. So William Ruto is someone whose days are numbered. According to us people in the movement, we believe that these days are numbered according to our own tactics we are forming on the ground. But we are also praising Almighty God to give us his favors, to relieve us from this problem. So William Ruto is continuing with is a good dictator and is propagating from where Moi left it. But we are not going to allow him to do that. We are not going to allow him to do that, and that is our responsibility. Because now the county is at a mess. If a public property is just being sold like that without consultation, then where are we heading as a county? William Ruto, we will not fear William Ruto. If it reaches a point, we will boil up. We will boil back and go back to the streets, because that is the language that he hears most. And we will not try to go to the streets because it is a sacrifice we have made amongst ourselves, that we must go to the streets because we are tired of liars. Lies every day, every day, every night, it is lies. In fact, I support. There's a lawyer who has taken a case in court. Maybe our president is having a mental disorder because he's lying even more than 5 times in a day. This is a serial liar and a serial killer who has seen very many Kenyans, young Kenyans being killed, being tortured, and we want to give him a chance here. His days are numbered as much as he continue to consolidate all the leadership. He has already absorbed the opposition is in government. Now the only opposition that we have, and it is one constituency. This one constituency is the Gen Z movement. And this movement carries everyone, and this is the only constituency that is outside the government, and it stands as the opposition. We will keep this government on check, and right now we want to push for the reconstitution of the IEBC. Then after the reconstitution of the IEBC, we will get one brave MP, which we are very confident we'll get, to just table that motion. And after tabling that motion, watuachie MPs tutadil now. Let them just do whatever. Watuweke tu hiyo bill iapprove, like inaweza anza kusomwa kwa bunge, ianze process ya kuipitisha, then watuachie hiyo au wabunge. Ikifika hiyo time election, we will show them dust and even more than what happened on 25th, because these are total jokes. These are total jokes that we are now witnessing as a country. Where are we heading to as a country? This is a country full of mess, starting from education, food security.
Wacha nikusimamisha hapo General China. Unajua nimekuja kurealize that nitasema hivyo because it's something that I've noticed in everybody who is angry with this government and says that we are in the movement, okay? There is a lot of, we are doing this, we are going to take these people out, yes? But my question still remains heavy here. Yes, we, who is we? What is this that you as General China are doing towards this? Yes. That's my question to you, General. Because I feel like people come to the mic and say they're angry about Ruto, they're angry about the corruption, they're planning to take them out in 2027. But we have agreed that these guys have already consolidated for 2027. And from the looks of it, the government and the opposition are together. So they have a plan for 2027. So as you're saying that you're planning to get them out in 2027, what is it that you're doing strategically, apart from anger, that is going to solve this? Apart from kusema kwamba tutawafunga. You guys, Moi died of natural causes. Nicholas Biwott died of cancer, natural causes. The robbers of the country. So many other people. They die of natural causes. They don't get to be followed through to the fullness of justice. Why? His story here, eti tutawafunga. What are we saying that is different? Because I feel like I am tired of listening to people just saying they are angry. Oh, Ruto is bad, is a murderer. Yes, we know that. But what is our way forward? I host spaces daily to keep people heard, to give people a voice to be heard out there, you know. So while we are getting people heard out there, what is the message are we putting out there? Because at some point, I fear that we are going to, at the risk of this, we are going to end up being an echo chamber. And through being an echo chamber, people just get tired gradually and stop listening to us, because they are like, okay, so they're going to say they're angry at Ruto. Okay, we are going to go back to the streets. Okay, hey, what else are we going to say? Ruto is a murderer, looter. Yes, we know that. So I want us, when you're also getting to this microphone, let us also get to say things that are actually factual. And also when you're talking about we are going to send these people home. First of all, in order to send these people home, we need to have an alternative. We are at 2024 October. And we are still not yet even able to say, and that is what I was thinking about this morning. And that is why I'm saying we need to change these conversations. I'm saying this on my space. This is our open announcement. Okay? Tuesday next week, before General China continues, Tuesday next week, I'm going to open the microphone to anybody, na isikike na yeke on record, anybody who is interested in being a leader in 2027. Mmenielewa? Unataka kuwa MCA, unataka kuwa women rep, unataka kuwa MP. Because now, as we are saying that, oh, we want to have these voices, we have to have these voices. I want to hear what these people that we are saying tuenda kuwabadilisha, are they going to be the Salasias now? Because nime realize being young is not a guarantee that you have brains. Look at, when you listen carefully to one of these people that we are talking about, I don't want you guys to start hating me. You guys get emotional about him. But when you look at what that guy says, you realize there's a lot of Rutoism in him. He promises things he knows he cannot do. He brings in pseudo-religion inside it. He is very secretive about the way he moves his money. When one of his was, anyway, that's their business. So, while you're getting angry about these things, tuache tu kusema, oh, this guy is killing people. Yeah, we know. Tuache. Mimi nimechoka na hiyo maasira. So wewe Tuesday, kama unataka kuwa president, kuja kwa home run. Kama unataka kuwa MP, hata uniambie tu pipi, me I want to be an MP for a place called Kasipul, Kabondo. And honestly, mimi kama mtu wa young age, nimeona kwamba MP wetu anafanya hivi na hivi na hivi. Okay, come with the documents if you have to. Tell us my MP is a robber. Don't come and tell us he shouted in Bunge. Everybody saw that. If you're going to use that to decampaign them, then you've lost it at the door. So come here with the documents. Sewa kuna barabara fulani Tongaren to Tongaruen alikuwa jenge for 17 million shillings, but because alikuwa na somebody and somebody akujenga. Come with those documents. Let us hear you. Tusikie watu wakikusikiza hapa. Kuna watu wenye wanakusikiza hapa ndo watakupigia kura one day, or they represent the Kenyan electorate. So if you talk to us and tell us, PP, I want to be an MCA in my place, alafu anza kuniambia stories za sijui unataka kujenga nini, mtu anaweza kuambia, okay, this one is not right, okay, maybe this one is not it, and maybe through that we have already started another era of leadership. That is what I want us to start from. I want us to stop mark timing on anger. Ruto mark timed on anger on only one day. We have mark timed on anger for 4 months. General China, what are we planning to do? When you say we, I've already communicated my way. I'm going to use my voice to help people get their voice out there. What are we doing? What are you doing?
Thank you for that, Brother Bifita. So, me, what I'm going to do according to myself, I'm first of all spearheading what is called civic education, because most of the choices that we make in the ballot, or the problems that we are submerged right now, they are because of the wrong choices that we made, because of maybe lack of general knowledge of how things should be done. So I'm spearheading. The first thing is the civic education. The second thing which I'm urging each and every person in the movement is to push for the reconstitution of the IEBC, because the moment the longer it takes, the longer it will also push the date for election. So we want it to be reconstituted as fast as possible, so that we can start holding these MPs also who think they are hiding under it at ransom. We will be holding each and every person at ransom. So that is the second thing I'm championing to be done. The third thing is voter mobilization, like mass voter mobilization. Like people should take the ID, the young generation, the people who have just finished high school, and the people
who
have just
that.
Yes. The way I've been encouraging people to go and take the IDs, and I'm going to appoint some people who can't afford. I'm supporting them in getting the IDs. And I pray to Almighty God to bless my pockets as this revolution goes on, to get more funds so that I can be able to sponsor very many people to make sure that I have achieved this dream. And the third one, because we are all crying that all MPs are also bad, no one is good in this government, is encouraging each and every youth to come in front, like the way you have said, in the leadership. Because if you don't have an option, then you are the option. There's no other option. You come to the leadership spaces and you take them all head on. If you feel your MP, for those people who feel their MCS have let them down, you go there and you become the replacement there. Me, I'll say the post that I will go for, but it is too early. I'm still strategizing on how the ground works, because you must also listen to the ground. So those are the points that I will say as per now. I will join later to continue with the conversation. Thank you very much, Brother Peter.
Unaona sasa, hiyo ndio inaitwa objective delivery. Kwamba unatuambia kitu yenye wewe pia unafanya, because hii movement nimerealize kuna a lot of posting. Ile mtu anataka kusema we will do, but wewe mwenyewe hakuna kitu unafanya, ama you want to do that what we call armchair. You know, armchair kind of activism where you send money and then you want to Western naende akupigania mbele. No. You also have to be doing something as a person. JMO, Jambo. Unmute your mic, JMO, if you can hear me.
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity. I just want to give my opinions, my 2 cents about all what is happening to this country. This notion that Kenyans need civic education, like Kenyans are stupid. According to like the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics some years back, we had a literacy rate of 83%. So many nikisikia civic education, not that Kenyans don't know how to read. They can even read the constitution by themselves, but it's like wako tu wana assume so long as I'm not affected by whatever is happening, I'm good to go. So I'll pay much interest or keen interest on whatever is happening to the country. So long as I'm not being affected, so long as there's a crisis in the health sector na mimi siyuko affected, we are good to go. So my point is, like, I believe we have a societal problem whereby si ati ni watu wabaya, ni society ni structure zetu venye tunaishi ndio mbaya. Sijui kana na make point, like hata unaweza toa Ruto hata saa hii a replace na Morara Kebasu, but our problems will still persist. So actually that point yenye mnasema sijui Gen Z, kuna Gen Z bunge hata saa hii, some of the dumbest Gen Zs I've ever seen, like that lady Toto hafikiriangi kivyake. Alafu utasikia watu wakisema Gen Z wachukue. It's not a matter of Gen Zs or boomers or millennials. Kuna shida. Na hata ukiondoa the current crop, I feel like our problems will still persist. Yes, hiyo ndio rant yangu. Sina solution kwa sasa nime give up.
Usi give up ndugu yangu, lakini pia kama ume give up, simama hapo kando, utatukimbiza mbele. Nixon, how are you doing?
How are you doing, Peter?
Niko salama kabisa.
Thank you for the flow. So the thing I think is the way to go is still a very long, treacherous one. We have a very long way to go as it is, because the problem we're facing ahead is just so huge. So it actually depends on how we organize ourselves, how we make our resolutions in this, because the system is rotten to the core. For example, I've had one of us saying, like, we can we can have a session where we bring up one of our good MPs to bring the motion of impeaching the president. But that one I don't see it working because these MPs we have, yeah. By the time MPs, everybody understand what I'm saying in this thing. MPs, in this sense, are watu wameingia hapo kukula. And this is a very, very unfortunate situation that is lingering across the country, because if you had to check way back when these people are expressing the intention to be MPs or to be governors or to be senators, what was the factor that was making them get so excited with these positions? Hakuna kitu ingine ya maana hapa yenye unaweza sema. It was about getting rich and getting rich quick. So if you saw, like, I've been a very keen guy watching how Muthomi Njuki landed into his governor position in wherever that side of the country. I saw what motivated him. I've seen what motivated guys like Mandago. I saw what motivated guys like Kinakabogo. We could see these things. If you get this position, you know what? I'm the senior guy in this thing. I got these millions or billions, yeah. So these billions are passing through my hands. So there's no way kuna vile hizi billions za kuzidedicate zifanye kazi hii na kuna vile niko nakosa kitu yenye najikatia hapo. So what happens in this thing? These guys get positions, but they're not really sent to do work for Kenyans. They're going there to chase for what they can get out of what is being dedicated for their people. So at the end of the day, unapata hakuna kazi yote ya maana inafanyika kwa ground. Hata pesa yote yenye za kuja ya kufanya project ya maana ya kusaidia watu wake hizi fanyika because huyu jamaa anaona hii pesa inafaa kwa yake. He did the campaigns, yeah, and he spent a lot of money to get that seat, so he has to recover that money. If this mentality continues, hakuna mahali tunaenda. So first things first, I think we need to fix the whole thing. Hii kitu imeoza. We have to accept that. Hata kama tunataka tupate new leaders wenye wanataka ku take over and make a change, they should not come into this thing knowing that hapa naenda kupata kiti ya governor, then all of a sudden I'll be this big man here. I got all these mansions, I got all these monies, and I got all these trappings. So mimi si mtu wa kawaida. So your mentality ikitoka from guys who want to vie. I mean, we should have guys who are going to vie thinking that you're going to serve the country. If you're going to have an avenue where people are going to promote patriotism first, then this thing is going to work. It's very sad to see like the house, our parliament house. Imekuwa ni kama ile camel, I mean ile story ya camel yenye inataka kuingia kwa tent. So what the camel does is inaingiza kichwa, polepole inaingiza shingo, alafu polepole inaingiza nundu, alafu inaingia yote. So sasa hiyo camel vile tunaongea with our MPs. Sasa hii camel imeingia yote kwa hiyo tent. What am I saying with this illustration? I'm saying this is like, if you look at the kind of laws they've passed laws that are favoring them. The other day uliangalia the courts were able to thrash away the issue about CDF. Mmeona nini wabunge wakisema? Wabunge wataki kuachilia hii kitu. Juu wanaona hii kitu is theirs. Wanataka wakae nayo wakule hiyo pesa vizuri. Juu sasa unamnyima hii CDF, sasa yeye atakula wapi? That's why unaona a young MP kama Selassie ako na confidence ya kutuanikia payslip yake anapata sio 2,000. Kwa hiyo mshahara yote milioni 1. Kwani hiyo pesa nyingine ya kumsustain hiyo lifestyle anakaa nayo, hiyo pesa inatoka wapi? Kwani sisi ni wajinga? Hatujui pesa inatoka wapi mtu anaishi vizuri? So sasa tunasema nataka kuchange hii CDF thing ikuje ifanye kazi the way it's supposed to be, or hataki kuachilia. Then they've even said that as in they're going to make another law to make sure that they have this thing in their hands. Na Wakenya wamekataa hii kitu. Sasa hii ni statement kubwa sana, inamaanisha hata pale tunaenda wale wengine watakuja ku inherit the same thing. And the moment wale wengine wazuri watakuja ku inherit the same thing. So what change tu wafuate hiyo njia, because it's so easy for somebody to follow things that anajua inamfaidi, anaona life imekuwa easy hapa, anakula pesa vizuri. If you don't have a way to make sure that these things are reverted, I think tuko na shida kubwa sana. Bado tuna kazi. We need to fix this country. Kuna vitu hao wabunge wametuibia sana. Hao wabunge wametwist vitu mingi imeenda to their favor. So saizi vile tuko nao wabunge pale hakuna kitu ya maana wanafanya. All they think is about deals zenye wanaweza pata anywhere. So wabunge wako hapo, and these are the owners of so many companies za kujenga mabarabara huko kwa mashinani, na hizo barabara hazijengwi. Hao ndio wanapata hiyo pesa. Hao ndio make deals na governors ndio hao pale wanajenga sijui manyumba huko mashambani. Kuna sense gani kujenga nyumba huko mashambani ya milioni 200? Majenga nyumba Bomet ya milioni 200. Milioni 200 Bomet ni pesa kiasi gani? Surely acha tuongee tusaidiane mawazo. Kama wewe unaweza jenga nyumba ya milioni 200 Nairobi tunaweza elewa. Lakini milioni 200 Bomet ama milioni 200 huko whatever mashambani huko. How expensive is that house umejengwa? Imejengwa na kitu gani hiyo pesa yote inaenda kujenga nyumba? Na nani aliadvise watu sasa priority kwa a given county ni kujenga nyumba ya governor? Governor mwenyewe ako na mshahara mzito hivyo. Hawezi jenga nyumba yake nyumbani akae vizuri na anakaa kwa hiyo county. Hawezi jengea nyumba yake compound mzuri na hiyo mshahara yake. What is it? Lazima kwa nyumba nyingine hapo imejengwa hapo na kwake ni hapa, hii county ni yake. I mean, kuna vitu mingi lazima tuangalie holistically. Hii pesa mtu anachukua milioni zaidi ya 200 ya kwenda kujenga nyumba ya governor kwa county ambayo watu wanalala njaa. Does it make sense? Hii sasa hizi story kwenda mbele, wacha tukue watu tuko practical na vitu zinafanyika. Na tuweze kuquestion now, tukue na njia ya kuweza kuquery. Tukweli vitu zote zinataka kufanyika. Tukue part and parcel of our program. Sio kusema tu these are our leaders. We don't question what they do. We don't question what they dedicate to do. Yeah, lazima tukue ndani ya hivi vitu to make sure zile funds tunapata zikiingia mashinani zinafanya kazi ambayo inafaa mwananchi wa kawaida. Hapana kuwa na proposals ambazo nufaishi mwananchi wa kawaida. Sasa hao watu wa county yetu napata ma-counties watu wanafanya benchmarking, sijui umesikia watu wameenda trip wapi wamespend sijui milioni ngapi. Ni inafaidi nini mwananchi wa kawaida? Na wako na nafasi kubwa ya kufanya vitu mingi ya kutosha kwa hiyo county, but they're just wasting money. We need to change rules. We need to come up with policies. So going forth mimi naona haitoshi kusema sasa ati tumeboeka na Ruto na tukae chini kufikiria kufanya plans za kuchange how business is done. Lazima tukae chini tuanze kudraft sasa. Hapa hivi hao wameenda wrong hivi. Sasa tunataka tuanze kufanya vitu this way. We must come up with a formula of doing things in a different way. Otherwise kama ni hivi tumekaa hata tukivote watu wengine wapya next time watafanya the same thing. We must come up with a way now to pronounce like this time going forth hatutafanya kama zamani. Hii kiti ya kusema tunataka kuchukua hapa upate sio ile kiti ya kwenda kujitajirisha, ni kitu ukuja ufanye kazi. Ufanyie Kenya kazi. So narrative change. We need to change the narrative. History ya kusema mtu lazima kuwa na 50 million kuendelea ndio apate kuvai kiti ya governor. Hiyo story itoke. Sijui tunaweza fanya aje kuelimisha wananchi wako mashinani. Maana mashinani kuna shida sana. Kuna ujinga wa kutosha. Maana umaskini umetusumbua, tunajua. Sasa mtu ana glorify ile statement ya kusema huyu jamaa amekuja kufanya campaign, ametupatia pesa ngapi? Huyu mwingine amekuja yes anaongea vizuri lakini hatoi pesa. Sasa at the end of the day tuna elect mtu ng'ombe sana because ana spend pesa yake ana invest kuspend kwa hiyo campaigns. Akijua akipata hii kitu anaenda kurudisha hiyo pesa yake. Sasa atarudisha pesa aje? Haizo rudisha hiyo pesa na mshahara yake. Sasa itabidi awaibie. So we need to change. We have a long way to go. We need to educate people huko mashinani kwanza. Waelewe effect ya kuelect leaders because wametoa pesa fulani. Your narrative change. Let us have leaders who are speaking sense, how they are going to change our lives. Sio story ya kukuja hapa mashinani ametoa 200, huyo mwingine amekuja ametoa 500. So yule 500 ndio mtu wa maana, huyo ametoa pesa mzuri. Alafu mna end up kupigia huyo mtu ametoa 500. Hiyo 500 yake imekuja bure. Maana Wakenya tumekuwa wazuri sana kupenda vitu za bure. Hii kitu ni hasara, watu wanakuja huko wengi. Yes, imekuja, lakini kuna kitu ya hasara kweli? Hakuna kitu ya hasara. Huyu jamaa amespend pesa yake, itabidi arudishe hiyo pesa. So the moment unapata hii kiti hivi akiingia hapo, the first ni kurudisha pesa yake amespend. Na hiyo pesa na pengine ameiba mahali. Alikuwa leader mahali, alikuwa kwa position fulani kwa hiyo serikali, ameiba huko, amekuja amewachotea hapa. Sasa narudisha hiyo pesa. Na aibe kabisa. Sasa kuna kitu at the end of the day hakuna maendeleo mtawahi kurealize. Na it is very sorry to see in the house that those are the people we have. Tuseme tu kweli. Hiyo bunge toka nayo vile tunasema MPs, hao watu hiyo ndio design yao, because hao ni watu wa kufanya deals. Hao ni wheeler dealers. Hakuna jina lingine unaweza describe hao watu. So hakuna vile tunaweza fikiria ati kuna mmoja wao anaweza raise hiyo motion ya ku impeach president na ipita, haiwezi pita. Maana wanajua hiyo mkate itaenda. So ni sisi tujipange vizuri, kwa sababu kama tuna nafasi ya kuweza kufika mashambani, let us educate our people. Haifaidi kusema wewe ni mtu wetu sijui nini au jamaa yetu. Hiyo mentality itoke. Maana hata kama ni mtu wako, wakati una vote huyo mtu wako ameenda huko, amepata hiyo position, anakuja nyumbani kukusaidia. Kuna siku ni watu ngapi huko mashinani huyo mtu, sababu ni mtu wenu, amewapea jobs hapo down, ama amekuja hapo amewaletea development, sio amewafanyia, ni kila mtu ako sawa kushinda ile area nyingine yenye si mtu wao. Most of the time unaangalia vile umevote hao watu wetu vile wamevote hivyo, si wako tu the same across the country. Hakuna mtu anashinda mwingine in terms of living standards sababu ulivotea mtu wenu. So watu waanze kujifunza hivi vitu mapema. Huyo mtu unamvotea unasema ni mtu wenu, hakuna cha mtu wako, hakujui. Akishapata hii kiti, the best thing anakuja kufanya hapo kando, atakaribisha relatives na akaribisha mabeshte wake wengine, hata si kabila yako, ndio hao watawai job. Kwani watu waone hizi vitu? Na itachukua siku ngapi watu kujifunza hii trend inaenda aje? Then we need to change this thing. Tunaweza kuwa na mtu yote kwa president hapo juu, doesn't matter sijui ametoka kabila kubwa, bora huyo mtu ile nini anakuja nayo, amekuja na points mzuri za kudevelop hii Kenya. So Kenya going forth, I think we really have a lot to do, just to say. So anyway, wacha nafasi mne kama mtu mwingine anaweza ongezea kitu ya maana hapo. Thank you.
Asante sana bwana Nixon, na ukweli hivi umesema vitu vizito kweli. Ya kwamba saa zingine mtu unasema eti ni mtu wenu alafu anaenda anaandika mtu mwenye hata sio hiyo tribe yenye anasema ni mtu wenu. So ni crazy sana. I'm trying to read here, a sick society produces sick people. A corrupt society produces corrupt people. That is our leaders, that is Mositano. It's garbage in, garbage out. A majority of us can't wait to get deals za kuomosha regardless, bora asipatikane. We also need to change. Mnasikia hiyo? You need to change. Tunataka quick rich schemes. Ndio wana unasikia watu wanasema corruption is only bad if it does not benefit you. If it benefits you, it's good. Hiyo unaitanga deals. Ile mnaita kujuana, by the way. That is what I'm trying to point at, if you do not know what I mean. Yeah, so I'm reading the comments hapo hivi, so you can also write the comments. Usiseme huku upata nafasi ya kuongea Jumai kilikosa. You can write also a comment. Yes, so Andrew All is telling me to have I had to plan to have a team of investigative reporters. Manze, I've had a lot of things going on, and of course all these things need money. So yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 4 minutes to the top of the hour. We still have like 2 hours to the top, to the end. I just wanted to say that Adani has the government through CS and I has confirmed that the government of Kenya has gone into an agreement with the Adani Group, Energy Limited, for 97 point something billion over 30 years. Ngeni pale hivi kwenye tip Jaline 0721948229 and support the show. Western Shilao, what is the significance of 30 years? Why 30 years? Wanataka 30 years ya airport, 30 years ya energy, same entity. So it looks like it's the same entity that is controlling energy. They're going to take health. It's shift pia iko chini ya Adani. Oh my God. O'Brien ameniambia Peter, read my comment. Bocha tuone comment ya Brian. Usinichape bro. Let's mobilize for revolution. There's no other way out. Yeah. Solution is one, revolution. Yes. Talk to me, Weston.
Peter, you know, this arrogance, it's arrogant because governments usually design their programs within the period within which they're expected to prosecute their agenda. And if you're elected for 5 years, well, you will design things that you can accomplish in 5 years. And hopefully, by the end of 5 years, you can use those things to secure 5 years more. In some countries, you do 4. So when you see governments, signing things that run into, decades, one thing that they are telling you is that they think that way into the future, there will be no fundamental change as far as governance in Kenya is concerned. That people will succeed them, will not have a problem with this kind of deals because they didn't have a problem with the deals that were signed before. So the people who come will, uphold, retain those obnoxious contractual obligations. Because until now, we've not had a government that comes into power and cancels things that were done previously. CBC was not supposed to take off. That was the red flag for me. Once the William Ruto administration retained CBC, I said, no, this is yet another false start. This is another false start. It was not supposed to take off. And in fact, they said as much while they were on the campaign trail. So basically, it's a challenge to us, Pepita. It's a challenge to us that really, how come we don't have people who think differently from these characters that cocksure, that come next elections, individuals who get into parliament, individuals who occupy various positions will not think differently from them. They will justify why those deals are in the best interest of the Kenyan people, why those deals cannot be cancelled because, signatures were, appended to some documents. You can draw from the SGR thing. Didn't they promise that they will make public the contract? Did they? They did not. So, Pepita, that's the challenge. Whether elections, this thing we're talking about IEBC, whether elections really can fundamentally turn around the way the countries run, whether really elections can turn around things. And they are convinced that elections will not change a thing. They're convinced as far as that is concerned. And that's why one of the mortal mistakes that we perpetrated is that governments that perpetrated atrocities against Kenyan people, individuals who held positions in those governments were never brought to account. That has been the greatest mistake that we have ever tolerated as a country. And therefore, it's become self-perpetuating going forward. It's become self-perpetuating. So these guys are cocksure, they're sure that even if you, Pipita, you are to be elected today, they're sure you're not going to hold them to account. That's what they're saying with those 30-year deals. You won't hold them to account, you won't bring them to book because they never brought to book those who preceded them. And that's why Pipita have a problem when we can afford to defend people like Rigathi Gachagua. I've got a problem with that, frankly speaking. I do. Because what it says is that tomorrow, William Ruto, some of us will have a problem with William Ruto being held to account. I can put it to you. Some of the people on this platform, if tomorrow a decision were to be made that William Ruto has to be brought to account, they will defend him. I can put it to you. They'll defend him. They say, no, we want peace. You can't do that. No president has ever been brought to justice and stuff like that. They will have all sorts of, faulty arguments as to why that cannot be done. The same way they said the likes of Matiang'i can't be brought to justice. Whoever it is can't be brought to justice. The same way people who signed SGR can't be brought to justice. The same way we never demanded. In fact, we were to demand from William Ruto. You promised us State Capture Commission of Inquiry. We want it. We want this. So that we get to know what happened vis-a-vis this mega infrastructural programs. We didn't make that demand, Pepita. We did not make it. We didn't even hold them to account as far as that pledge is concerned. We did not. Now, we're concerned that the things are continuing. They are auctioning the country. Why are we surprised? We did not make that demand, did we? They promised once we get into office, and the excuse we gave was that, no, we can never have such a conversation because these guys were party to those deals. Can that be an argument? Can that be an excuse? Okay, it can, but can you consider the cost? Can you consider the cost? The cost is that they are continuing to do exactly those things that were done before. They're doing them. Tomorrow we wake up after elections, the guys who come, I can guarantee you they'll do the same thing. Because we've never said, we will attach your property. We're going to attach your property. You can't account for this property. You cannot account for this money in your account. We will attach this money. And we're not just going to attach your money, you'll go to jail. You will go to jail. What happened today vis-a-vis, what is the name of this member of parliament for Sirisia? There's a member of Sirisia who was convicted the other day. He's been acquitted or something like that. Yeah, over corruption. Yeah, that matter is playing itself below the radar. Below the radar. So yes, jails are meant for who? If you go to a country where you don't find big shots in jails, Pepita, there are big problems in that country. Massive problems. You go to prisons, you don't find big shots there. You don't find a pastor there. You don't find a vice chancellor there who looted money from a university. You don't find a CEO of a company there in jail. You don't find a cabinet minister there. You don't find a member of parliament there. Pepita, it tells you that there are massive problems in that country, big ones. You just find small people there in jails, stole eggs, stole chicken, stole maize meal, stole what? Small people there. You never find big fish there. So there are massive problems in that country because it's not the eggs that somebody steals that will collapse a country. It is the money that the big shot in government steals, the tenders. That's what collapses a country. That's what causes poverty. It is the money that the president looks the other side as people steal, or the president himself steals with his cronies or through his cronies. That is the money that collapses a country. That's the money that makes sure that there are no medicine in hospitals because they steal in billions. There are no good roads. People die. There's no food security because they have imported so much and have minted money. Farmers have abandoned farming because it's not worth their effort. and there's poverty and hunger all over the place. That's what makes kids go to school. They get out of school. They're not knowledgeable. They've got certificates, but they have no knowledge. So they can't be helpful to the economy. That's stealing. So you've got people that go to school, but really, you can't do much with them as far as the economy is concerned because you don't care about what they learn in school. It is that stealing. But so far, Pepita, we think that it's heretic to arrest a big person in Kenya. It's heretic. Don't even try it. Don't even try it. Why are you doing that? When they do, no, it's witch hunt. It's politically motivated. We always have good reasons as to why a big person in Kenya should never be arrested, should never lose a job. It's their opponents who have a problem. They want to bring him down. No, man. The other people have also stolen. Why are you going after this person? So does it mean if somebody is stealing, another one is stealing, then stealing becomes normal? It must be accepted? Does it mean people murder one another? Therefore, we should legalize murder. Because it doesn't matter if you could take these people to jail, tomorrow you wake up, somebody's dead by the side of the road. So just don't try people who have murdered. Because you won't stop murder. It will continue. Is that how we reason? No, don't arrest this member of parliament because the entire parliament is rotten. So just leave them to continue stealing. Don't impeach this deputy president because even the president is corrupt. So let them continue stealing. Is that how we can argue? But we are doing that. When we doing that, and then we wake up, we are surprised, Pepita, that the things that we defend are happening under our noses. So like, how is it? It's just counterintuitive. We're not consistent. So who should we arrest? Who should we try? Who should we demand that brings money back to the Kenyan people, money that was stolen? Who should be held to account? So that's what I'm saying. William Ruto is actually a Kenyan. He's a Kenyan. This is not a Tanzanian. This is not a Ugandan. This is a Kenyan. But we're embarrassed because he exposes our duplicity. That's why we're embarrassed with him. He exposes our duplicity. He exposes our autocracy in our own backyards. We're very intolerant people. He exposes our tribalism. Deep down, we behave the way he does. So we're embarrassed. Deep down, we celebrate when misfortune bedevils other people. So if it's ODM people that the police are shooting, they can shoot them. That is destructive. Okay, tomorrow we wake up, the police are also shooting us because the government has changed. Then we get shocked. Like, really, what's happening? What? But do you remember yesterday your position when, say, ODM or CORD or Azimio people were protesting? Do you remember your position? What did you say? They are destructive. They are running down businesses. These people, what? You said those things, okay? Today, the government has changed. The guns are trained against you. What are you saying? There's autocracy, there's dictatorship. I mean, come on. We're not consistent. Do you remember what you said when some Kenyans were saying we can't elect two people who face egregious charges before the ICC? We'll set a bad president in our country. Do you remember what you said? No, these people have been chosen by God. No, these people are bringing peace. No, these two people will make sure that going forward, Kikuyus and Kalenjins will never fight again. They'll never fall out. You remember what you said? They've got money, so they won't steal. No, Uhuru Kenyatta is already a wealthy person. Is this a correct person to be a president? He has no desire to steal. You remember what you said? You recall what you said? You justified what? You justify all sorts of egregious things. So when these things later on, they come to bite you, you are shocked. Like, what's happening? Where did William Ruto come from? Where did he come from? You didn't see him coming. You didn't see him walking. You didn't see him walking. You saw him walking. You even encouraged him. You even shut down people who are trying to say, no, we must stop these people. You call them names. Oh, 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, things are coming to bite you. Suddenly you are shocked. Pepita, William Ruto exposes our duplicity, our double standards, our spinelessness. We have no capacity to stand up to evil. We have no capacity to stand up to good governance and, say we will defend good governance no matter what. No, We have no capacity to stand up for the rule of law. We don't have it. We are like fair weather. I will interpret the Constitution based on, the person who is embattled, based on the issues in question. Do I stand to gain? Do I stand to lose? Is the person who is on trial my person, not my person? Yeah, that's how we read the law. That's how we interpret it. So we say, oh, this guy cannot be impeached. Oh, he'll go to the Senate. No, he'll go to the courts. Why can't we say, cut this excess thing, we want to move on? Please, spare us the trouble. Spare us the circus. Cut. We want this thing to elongate to the next elections. You can go to court. There's nothing that William Ruto is going to do. And then we get surprised that things are not working for us, Pipita. How can they work for us? If there's crisis in the government like that, there's infighting in the government like that, and there was no, it's not a priority. A priority is Adani. Autopilot? You want to put the government on autopilot? Okay, the person at the head as the president is not running the government, it's just running. The government is running on its own. No, it's not going to work like that. Because even autopilot, the aeroplane is actually running. It's running. The thing knows where it's going. The thing knows the altitude. The thing can warn you if it's headed in the clouds or in some mountain. It will warn you. Please, you're going to crash. It's going to warn you. So autopilot, it's not like the thing is directionless. It knows where it's going. It's a very sophisticated form of engineering. So you can't say the country's on autopilot. If it's on autopilot, it's actually working. Here, the thing is directionless.
Working seamlessly.
Yes, it works seamlessly. When the country's on autopilot, you don't even see the president or in the media. So you don't even care. I have not seen the president for 1 week. I don't care. But in Kenya, you don't see William Ruto for 1 week. People start asking, where is he? What do you want him to do? When you see him, how does that help you? When you don't see a minister, where this minister is not working, people tell you, no, Kindiki is working because he's seen in the media often. So no, they give him, I don't know what percentage. Do you go to countries that work, Pepita? You can enter a train. You sit next to a minister or you sit next to a prime minister, but you don't even know. You don't know, and you don't even care. You don't know them because you don't see them on TV. Somebody said, do you know this person we're getting off the train? This is the prime minister. Oh, you say, okay, this is a minister. You don't know them. We know these people, Pepita, because things are not working. That's why we know them. If the country is working, we don't even know the Minister of Education, and we would not even care. We wouldn't even know the Minister of Health, and we would not care. Because I go to hospital, I get treated. Why would I care who is the Minister of Health? My kid goes to school, comes back, I listen to what they're saying. There's good learning taking place. I go to the supermarket, what I want to buy is there. And they're not selling me poison. They have ensured that the things I'm buying actually they're good for my health. Why would I care who is the minister of, transport or for agriculture? I could not care. Farmers, they invest in their farms. They harvest their produce. They make, they recoup their investments. Why would they care who is the minister of health, of agriculture is? They would not care. But we care these people, we care who is appointed because these people don't work for us. We want to see William Ruto in the media because he's not working for us. So we think when we see him in the church, we see him addressing people, I don't know where, we see him all over the country, he's working. And if we don't see him, no, he must be sick. There must be something wrong. That is the problem. So I'm saying, Pepita, William Ruto is us. How I wish we owned up that, because that would mark the beginning of turning this country around. But denialism, I see we are soaked in denialism. It's not me. No, those things have nothing to do with me. No, this is a strange person. No, this is a strange government. This government people are strange people. That's denialism. And denialism is not going to help us. It will not help us. It's just apportioning blame. Just blame casting. Just looking for a person to hang. We will hang this person. Okay, you hang them. The person who replaces them is exactly like the person you hanged, if not worse. Will you keep hanging people? Next time it will be you to be hanged, actually. You just realize it's your turn to be hanged. Yeah, because you think hanging is the simplest way to address the problem, very fundamental problem. So, Pipita, that is my take. We are not defining ourselves as part of our mess. And then from there, we can collectively atone. And then once we atone, we chart the way forward. But
you are listening to Home Run.
But
you are saying there's a but?
But if we think that as a society we've got good people on one side and bad people on the other side, so all that you do is that you remove these bad people and concern them in their cage. It's like a cage. Put them in a cage, make sure they don't get out, then let the good people run things. We don't have that kind of dichotomy, I'm afraid. So this quest for a good leader, for good leaders, is informed by that false dichotomy, that there are good people here and there are bad people there. Next elections will get good people to replace these bad people we have now. Peter, it's not going to happen like that.
Okay.
You are listening to Home Run with Pippi. Weekdays from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m.
I am meant to understand that Eli Likuyani has a different worldview with you, Western Shilaho, and I'm just going to let Eli take it over from here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a Home Run with PP. Happens each and every weekday, 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. East African time. Eli.
Greetings, Pippi. I hope you're doing well.
Yes, I am well.
Thank you for having me, and really not to dilute the very heavy points that Western has shared. I perfectly requested for the mic because of one point of departure that I have in terms of how governments design their programs. And unlike the common belief, the government in itself, it's really not about who is in power, but the decisions are made as opposed to sustain a country. So even when we talk about Kenya, and we say we hate this government, unknown to many, it is actually your government. The only difference that who is currently administrating that government is the question that we need to discuss over. And number two, I don't believe governments should formulate programs or policies that go through the electoral cycle. For example, in Kenya, we have 5 years, and then people have to seek a second mandate. And in this case, let's look at the current administration of Kenya Kwanza. Every program that Kenya Kwanza today is trying to complete is a program that was established either by the previous government, and some of them are new ideas that are coming with, and they intend to be able to manifest and finally realize as a country. And therefore, I know we find ourselves in a point of disbelief because, one, we have a gentleman that we believe does not understand the predicament that Kenyans will be facing in the event these contracts outlive their time in office. And that actually is the unfortunate reality of what we're dealing with. But it is not because he does not understand what is happening. And again, this is not me saying that the current Kenya Kwanza administration is doing their very best in dealing with the matters we're facing. We have a lot of gaps that needs to be addressed. We have a lot of even the issues that have been raised of unconstitutional decisions and bills and let's say what we call them, laws that are being put in place and policies that are coming in and out, and to some extent the courts are questioning some of these decisions. So what I feel and what we need to really address is when we have an administration in office, what is their clear goal that they set out to achieve? And these achievements or these goals that they are setting out, are they actually what I will call practical. When we say, for example, the root one, that by the end of December or the 25th of December, you guys will be celebrating your Christmas with all of you having subscribed to the virtual tax regime of your M-Pesa transactions. Now, that in itself, one will argue is a great idea, because then everybody that has not been contributing to the kitty we call the tax bracket will actually be brought into play. But what we forget is, if I was to send my mother some cash money, and in other jurisdiction it would be considered as a gift, quote unquote, is it subject to deductions or subject to taxations? So we have already overtaxed the person that is directly earning this money, and where this money is going is also getting overtaxed. And then we think actually bringing more people into the bracket. Now, I do not understand the tax regimes, and I don't want to dilute that point by raising what I'm raising. What I'm simply putting in place is, by the time we get 25th of December, whatever that will be used, will they really be within our legislations, and are they in accordance with what our constitution expects? So we find ourselves in another conundrum whereby we are having a law that is unlawful, and governments of the day will push with it, and maybe the court of the day will say, no, this is not right, you have to go back. But instead of completely quashing it, they'll say, go and check and review so that it works. So we are constantly trying to, what I will say, weld things into place and thinking like we are inventing new ideas. But in reality, we are destabilizing the COG of this car. So eventually the car that whole Kenya will have an accident and will be wondering, how did this happen? But we have been interfering with the structure of this car, and eventually the manufacturer manual that was supposed to make sure that this car is in its structure and functionality does not work within the current structure that you have, which is your car, Kenya. Number two, I am a firm believer that countries and administrations and organizations need to have long-term goals. And that's why we say vision and we talk about mission. And every time we will appear to arrive at the mission we had for 2022 to 2027, but we have the longer vision of where we want to see this country. So when we are signing up those contracts, do they appeal to the long-term vision of this country? Do our leaders see where we are going, trying to find, as long as we get there? And I think that's where maybe Western, I will say, probably we don't need to really say countries or countries that go to elections after 5 years. For example, Kenya will have to set an agenda for 5 years and then it's done. It has never happened. I don't see it happening. But when we set out the 10, 20, 30 years plan, how do we achieve that in the event it is no longer Western in office? If we have PP tomorrow president, and that's why countries like, the Western countries, talk of America and all of that, it doesn't matter who you vote in. Truth of the matter is their foreign policy remains that and exactly that. They can be in there, but as long as it is what they set out 20, 50 years ago, that is what remains their foreign policy. So as I learned, because I know there are a lot of speakers who are online, I wish to state that, one, it's important for us to have a vision as a country, which I do believe we have. But when we talk about systems being captured and the people that operate systems, you get into an office and you're actually the president, but you're just a figurehead. The people actually decide how this country are run. People sitting in IMF, people seated outside this country. So how do we re-own our own development plan? How do we re-own our own stories? And how do we make, as a country or as an African state, we actually have more influence on the decisions that are made, unlike when other people, and some of them with goodwill, come in and they say, we want to invest, we want to help people. But at the end of the day, the chunk that is put out, it's more than what is put in. Thank you, Whippy, and I hope yeah, we can have a deeper conversation on the same. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Eli Likuyani. And I don't know if Western has a feedback on that, but while we were at it, Real Joe joined us. So before I even go to, you have a submission to that?
Yes, Pepita, I do. I
Okay.
appreciate what Eli has shared with us. Eli, yes, ideally you need a long-term vision, but then that is only possible where governance is institutionalized. What we have in Kenya is personal rule. You can see the shifting and the NHIF. That when a person gets into power, they think they can demolish everything that was there. You get it. They can demolish everything, even if it's working. You can come up with all sorts of things. And you can't be questioned because, after all, you are the president. Where governance is institutionalized, when you get into power, of course, there are programs that were set. And in 20 years, this is where our country is supposed to be. So because you are loyal to the country, you will have to implement those things because they were never meant to benefit whoever it is that set those things. There were no rents here. But those things we're seeing being implemented, especially vis-a-vis road infrastructure and stuff like that. They are doing those things because there are rents there. Those are things from which they mint a lot of money. There are personal benefits. When you see, Uhuru Kenyatta set up a particular project, so the government is implementing, what does it tell you? There are rents to extract from those projects. China is a behemoth, it's a huge country. But historically, they have always had like 5-year development plans. Even Mao had those ones. Of course, they were atrocious. But even now, when the Chinese Communist Party meets, they take stock of what they achieved within the previous 5 years. The reports.
Wameenda na Western jamani. My lord. Eli, can you hear me?
Yes, I think we lost Western, but I was listening through. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, yeah. You had just brought up the what wanaitwa Mao. Let me just tell you, some of these things you guys are so well read. I just read from you because what? Yeah, the only Mao I used to know is Maode. But the real Joe.
Peter, how are you?
Hey, niko poa bana.
I want to pick up from the conversation between Western and Eli.
Mm-hmm. All right, talk to us.
First of all, Eli, I wish to tell you that you actually say that we have a vision as a country. Eli, I wish to categorically state with a lot of confidence, my confidence going up to about 200%, that we don't have a vision as a country. I categorically say that because, I mean, the only vision we've ever talked about as a country is Vision 2030. We are about 6 years out of Vision 2030. All the provisions of Vision 2030, as at now, we are supposed to be about at, say, 95% in achieving Vision 2030. But I'll tell you, Vision 2030 doesn't exist in our DNA right now. I mean, there's a lot that has gone wrong. But today we are talking about Adani, so I'm going to focus on Adani. When we talk about vision in leadership, it is supposed to be vision that creates a better living standard or environment for the people of that particular country. In this case, for the people of Kenya. See, we have the last 10 years, 12 years to be very, very specific, to blame ourselves for giving ourselves this leadership that we've given ourselves. We are talking about Adani. See, we have this PPIP that is being referred to. I'll tell you what, part 8 of that act that now talks about privately initiated proposals. states clearly, and it is part 8, 1C. Let me shock you. It says that this proposal it talks actually about non-competitive process. This process can only be non-competitive if there only exists one person or firm that is capable of undertaking this project. So then I come back and look at our country right now. Why must we talk about Adani in our airport infrastructure? Then the same Adani, we talk about Adani in Ketraco. The same Adani is being mentioned in a lot of projects. I mean, are they the only firm that are capable of undertaking these projects? I mean, that is the first fundamental question. But even without that, I have never understood, because we agree that all over the world, privatization is a concept that started way back. I'll tell you, by 1990, governments around the world had done privatization, all amounting to about I don't have the correct figures, but it is a concept that is around the world. I'm not against privatization. I am against what does it bring? What advantages does it come with? Okay? Do the people of Kenya get the best possible deals out of these privatization deals? Number two, what does it come to solve? What problem is there in our airport, for example, or in power that it is coming to solve? From the statement of CS Honorable Wandai, he says they are coming to maintain these power lines to prevent Kenya from the power outages that have been happening. I mean, if the choice of words are correct, and if I'm supposed to go with those choice of words, maintain, I mean that just shows incompetence of the highest order. We have issues with maintaining these power lines on our own. I mean, that's the question. Do we have issues with developing this infrastructure? That's another question. What amount of money is involved? 95 billion for 30 years. I mean, in a country that loses 2 billion, Adani is saying he's investing 95 billion in exchange of 30 years for maintaining our power lines. In a country that loses 2 billion to corruption, I mean, in 1 year, that is about 608, to be very, very specific on the figures that we've been given before. What are they coming to solve with these deals? What are these deals coming to solve? Are we getting the best possible deals out of this? So these are some of the questions that we keep asking. But even without that, I always boil my conversation down to leadership and integrity, and not even leadership and integrity itself. In our constitution, Article 73 says leadership is public trust. Who the hell is calling? Article 73 says leadership is public trust. And therefore, this position of leadership must follow certain standards that are already articulated in Article 10. This is the fundamental problem we have in a country. We would go around and talk about so many things. We would talk about even vision in leadership, but without the basic standards of leadership, we will never get anywhere. These leaders, they have vision, but their vision is to enrich themselves. Any leader who has ever come into power in our country, from Kenyatta the first, only got richer. None of them got poorer. None of them ever has anything to show for the wealth they have amassed. None of them. They only got richer. Kenyans got poorer. Ruto came 2013. They only got richer. In fact, in build-up to the elections of 2022, it is quite unfortunate that Ruto was named as the most corrupt politician, but he still ended up being the president. What a society we live in build up to election of 2022. But even that is not even the problem. Look at all the projects that were done in that time, in those 10 years. We had massive infrastructural projects. We had SGR, a project done to a tune of about 1 trillion. We had expressway, 73 billion. Instead of the first initial amount of 24 billion, we had so many projects that were done, even the dams that were built. So, but what was the problem we have in our country is just this public trust. Do these leaders come in to these positions knowing that they are holding a position of public trust? High offices. I mean, we take leadership in our country as a joke. And that's why we have these tribal cocoons whenever we want to go for elections. Someone just mentioned about Waluke, who has been acquitted for the 313 billion scandal that he had, was given a fine of 2 billion. He has been acquitted for it. And it is just so normal. I mean, when Ruto came into power, everybody was acquitted for all the things they did. And that is so normal. It has become so normal that we can even live with that. That is the problem. That is the fundamental problem we have in this country. We will never solve. We will never progress as a country. You know, some of the airports, for example, Heathrow, I'm seeing the Saudis want to buy even more shares in the Heathrow airport. But the Saudi, 40 years, 50 years back, they were not where they are right now with all the wealth that they have. But they had leadership that steered their country towards the right direction. 40 years down the line, they have been able to build a nation that is rich, wealthy. Of course, we cannot talk about so many other things about them. I'm only going to talk about the economics of it, but not any other thing. Kenya has been in an independent country for the last 60 and over years, but we have nothing to show for it. We can only boast of huge budgets, which we don't see any effect. With a budget of about 3 trillion and over, I would tell you with confidence that only less than maybe even just a $500 million goes into actual service delivery, because already we know that 70% goes into debt servicing. We know that all the collections we have in our country go into debt servicing. But this debt, do we have anything to show for it? The 10 trillion we owe, do we have anything to show for it? We don't. We cannot show projects worth 10 trillion. We can count the major projects that have happened in the last 10 years. You will not see 10 trillion. I promise you. You will not see 10 trillion in all those projects. But even so, it has been increased. Ruto already got another 350 billion. We just borrowing left, right, and center. But how do we utilize this amount of money that we borrow? That is the problem. And that boils down to leadership. It is the leadership. It is the leader. It will always be the problem. It will always be the leadership problem. And every leader, William Ruto comes into office and now changes NHIF that has been working. I think Western talked about this. And you know, if you read the SHA thing, the Social Health Authority thing, they're saying they are bringing to life Article 43. But you see, the first statement of Article 43, 1A, it wants Kenyans to have the highest attainable standards of health. I mean, the fundamental issue that most of the people have raised with this shisha thing, it is not coming to bring quality healthcare to the people of Kenya. That is the first problem that we have already identified with shisha. Other than the other shisha I know is the one that you pipitas zingine huwa mna smoke. Anyway, but they say they're bringing to life Article 43, but they are infringing that same article with this policy that they are bringing. The old policy that was there. What were the downfall? What were the shortcomings? Can it not be improved? This is a policy that has been there for years. It has been there for a very long time. It should have matured.